welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. Yes, we are doing a Sacred Union Energy Update. We're going to have a regular reading, but something kind of special happened. I was preparing to do a reading yesterday, and I reached for the Gaia Oracle. I was called to this deck. This is an oldie but a goodie. I haven't used this in a long time, but I felt called to this one. I wasn't quite sure why until the card came out. And then as I was channeling for this card, it seemed like it was like a separate channeling. And I just want to share those messages first before we get into the actual reading for the Divine Masculine, the Divine Feminine, the Union energies. And again, you can always take that for your inner masculine and feminine, for the Union energy, for your counterpart, or for the global ascension that we're experiencing collectively. But I wanted to share a little bit about what I had received, the messages I had received, and the insight before we get into an actual reading. So, like I said, I reached for the Gaia Oracle. It's something that I haven't picked up in a while, in many months at least. At the very least, I usually don't use this deck much anymore, but it's one of my favorites. And what was interesting is as I was beginning to tune into the energy, I heard the phrase, "What was old is becoming new again." And I might actually use that as the title of this video. What was old is becoming new again. Many of you have been reaching out, sharing that you are experiencing reunion and reconciliation. And this has been going on for a couple of months. I would say over the past year, there has been this reunion energy, this reconciliation energy, whatever that means for you. For some, this could be an actual counterpart connection that is coming back around again. For others, this could be some kind of union within yourself, maybe this inner union. For others, this could be this what's old is becoming new again, could be referencing a new energy. And no matter what the situation is, no matter how that's resonating for your specific scenario, it's going to be for your energy. When we channeled the reunion and reconciliation channeling many months ago, like a year or so ago, and I'll link that in the description box. When we channeled that, we talked about when you are connecting with your counterpart, for example, if you have had a period of no contact, no communication, or separation, as we call it, remember, you're never truly separate, but it might feel that way until you come into that inner union, until you recognize that separation is an illusion, until you remember that union is and always has been, and that your union is always part of you, always within you. So there is no separation. But when you're in physical reunion, physical reconciliation, you're having conversations, you're texting, you are beginning conversations again, it's going to be different than the past because your energy is different. And that is the crux of our ascension journey. It is soul growth, it is expansion, it is your own personal evolution, which is why for the Unity Code, my book, the tagline is your sacred union is the story of your evolution. And that's essentially what ascension is. Ascension is the story of your own personal evolution. And so when you are meeting up with a counterpart, for example, or your twin flame, your sacred partner, whatever label you want to use, it's going to be different because you are different. Now, it could express itself in a number of different ways, but so often, especially divine feminines, might have this fear of, what's he gonna be like? Who's she gonna be? Who's she gonna, what's she gonna act like? What's he gonna say? We might have all these different fears come up, but those fears are the ego. The ego is a survival mechanism. The ego likes patterns, and so it's going to replay patterns to kind of form this guard, to form this protection. But soul is stronger. Soul knows the way. And when we are deeply connected to our soul, and part of that is our intuition, when we're deeply connected to ourselves, we can have trust in that knowing. We can have trust in where our soul is guiding us. And that is what we have to do along the ascension journey, is to keep tuning into the soul, to keep tuning into our inner knowing, to keep tuning into our heart space. And so again, that is like the hallmark of our journey, especially the sacred union path of ascension, is learning to trust in the heart, in the soul, over the ego and the patterns. The ego serves a purpose. I don't believe in killing off the ego, as many in the spiritual community might claim. I believe in integrating the ego. in understanding that the ego, again, serves a purpose for our human aspect, our human identities, but we have to connect more deeply to the soul aspect of us. And that's where we become the bridge between the human self and the soul self. And so, as you are experiencing either reunion, reconciliation, contact, communication with a counterpart or a sacred partner or somebody from your past, or maybe there are experiences that are coming up again in your life that might be like a revisiting of the past. The most important thing to remember is that it's not going to be the same. It will never be the same as it was because that is old. That's an old energy, that's an old experience that already played out. And so remember that you are different. And so what's old is becoming new again is it might be coming back around again, a person, a situation, an experience, whatever that might be. It might be coming back around, but that's where you are having faith. It's not just faith, it is really anchored into the embodiment of who you are. Your inner knowing is calling to you to recognize that your energy now is different through your growth, through your transformation. So, what's old is becoming new again, but it's not going to be the same as it was, the exact same as it was. You can trust in yourself. Trust in your inner knowing, trust in your intuition, trust in your truth, trust in the embodiment of the growth, the transformation, the metamorphosis that you yourself have experienced along this journey. So, check out the reunion reconciliation channeling in the link in the description box if you have missed it or if you just want to revisit it. And again, this can be with regards to a counterpart or it could be with regards to something else, another experience in your life. But there is this energy of new being born from the old. And what that feels like is um, where you had experienced something maybe that you didn't like, but we wanted, but it didn't turn out the way that you wanted. For example, it's almost like there's this second chance, this new beginning. And that's what we've been channeling for years now. It's going to feel your especially with your counterpart, it's going to feel like a new beginning. It's going to feel like a second chance. But again, that can also be applied, they're saying, to other things. So if this is a dream that didn't work out, maybe it's coming back around again. Um in a different way. You're in a new energy, you're claiming yourself more, you're embodying a different energy, and so it'll play out in a different way. You're going to write that script in a different way. You're going to play out that story in a different way because of you. It comes down to your energy. You are creating, you are manifesting. And I don't really like the word manifesting anymore because it's more of a creation. You are literally creating, you are literally writing your story. And so, if something played out unconsciously in the past, and my best example is sacred partners, but it could apply again to anything else, dreams, goals, aspirations, situations, experiences, whatever it is. But with sacred partners, for example, when you and your counterpart met, you were activated to this journey, but you were both in a state of unconsciousness. Even if you had a spiritual awakening, even if you had these spiritual studies or these spiritual understandings, ascension is a whole new ball game. And so when you're activated, you are going through the process of shifting your consciousness, shifting your beliefs, shifting your self-concept, shifting who you thought you were to become who you truly are, your authentic self, your soul self. And so you're playing out these triggers, you're playing out certain aspects of your connection in an unconscious state. But that's again part of the expansion, part of the evolution, part of the healing and the remembrance of the journey. That in and of itself is the journey where you are moving from the unconscious state to the conscious state. And so we don't negate or criticize or judge where we were in our unconscious state. That's where we have compassion for our past version of ourselves and even our past version of our counterparts. But as we move from the unconscious state, learning, that they just gave me the word learning, that's exactly what it is. You are learning, you are growing, you're expanding. And so as you move from the unconscious to the conscious state, you have a much higher level of awareness. You understand what this journey is, you understand what the triggers are for, you understand what healing is, you understand what union is, you understand what this journey is all about. And it's very different than what you might have believed in the beginning of your connection or the beginning of your ascension, the beginning of your journey. And so you can't judge yourself for where you were, but now it's this point of awareness, you make different choices. And so that level of awareness, again, is your new energy. And so there might be old situations or old stories or old connections coming in again, but now you're at a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of being, and that's where you're going to move your story forward in a different way. That's where you're creating something new. And so that could apply again to your sacred partnership or your sacred connection, where now you, if you're triggered, you're not running away from the triggers, or you're not denying yourself your boundaries. You're in a healthy place. You're in a conscious place now. So you can have that conscious connection, that conscious communication, and that healthy attachment. You've done so much healing, gone through so much growth and transformation, that now you're able to shift your whole experience because of the shift within yourself. So what's old is becoming new again. The card that I pulled to start off with was Liberation, and I had pulled this for the Divine Masculine, and I had channeled quite a bunch for the Divine Masculine, but again, it was like I was getting so much. Sometimes what happens, you guys know this to be true for me. The reason why I sometimes talk so fast is because I'm getting so much information and so many messages, and I have to remind myself to slow down, that the messages will still be there. Um, but I was getting so much that sometimes it's hard to articulate, because as I'm channeling, I'm getting so much energy. And when I channel, have visions, I see things, they show me like snippets of things, or like little scenes and visions and images. But I'll especially just know things, or I'll feel things. So I have a lot of different aspects to the way that I channel and the way that I receive messages. And so much was coming in all at once that it's sometimes I have to put everything into place before I relay a message. And that's why I take some time with the sacred channelings that are deeper, to spend some time with the energies. And we're going to be doing a dragon channeling exclusive to the sacred membership. And we're also going to be doing a Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary joint channeling that's going to be available here on the channel, here on Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Mother Mary Magdalene has been coming in for a couple of days for me now. And I have been kind of communing with the energy and sitting with the energy, and I do understand the message, and we'll get some more as we're channeling that. But that's why I spend time with it, because I want to have a fuller understanding rather than trying to piece it into place as we're going, in real time as we're going here. And what was happening yesterday is I was just completely flummoxed, because the energy was so big and so vast, and I knew that this was bigger than just like a regular reading that we do. Our readings are so in depth as a whole, but I wanted this to be something special. Um, so we channeled for the masculine, but as I also ended that and decided, you know what, let's do this tomorrow, I also got that this was also for the feminine. This is your union. Your masculine that you look at as a physical counterpart is the masculine energy within you. That is the point of twin flames. That is what twin flames are. Twin flames, sacred partners, divine counterparts. Again, whatever label resonates with you, your person is going to be reflecting you. Your masculine, for example, is going to be reflecting the masculine energy within you. Your feminine is going to be reflecting the feminine energy within you. And so with this energy, it's that oneness. We have both the masculine side and the feminine side. And the card is liberation. And I feel like you're mirroring each other, and that you're both experiencing this liberation. You're both experiencing breakthroughs. And I'm also getting this word metamorphosis. And what I like about this is you have a couple of symbols that they want me to point out now here. You have the peace dove here, indicating harmony, indicating peace, indicating union, essentially. The wings are also spread, indicating ascension, this rising higher. We did a channeling called Remember Union. I can't remember when it was, maybe a year or so ago, 2 years ago. And I'll put links again in the description box if you missed it. They're all available in the Ascension Connections portal. So all you have to do is just sign up for the free Ascension Connections portal and check out the recordings, the channelings. Everything will be in your dashboard. Um, that channeling, we brought through a message of this judgment energy, but it's not judgment as in being judged, it's judgment as in a call to rise higher. And if you guys have been with me for a while, you know that the judgment card in tarot is my call to rise. And what they were sharing with me was it's a clarion call for these twin flames and sacred partners. And what they're sharing now is everything is in divine timing, and divine timing is divine alignment. Um, when we look at the world right now and everything that's happening at the global ascension, because our whole world globally, collectively, is going through an ascension, is going through an awakening, different levels and different layers. Some are going through their ascension journey, some are going through their first initial spiritual awakening, but it is a global awakening that is happening. And it might look and feel very chaotic. We're at the tail end of the election right now here in the United States, and everything feels so divisive, so chaotic. Even someone like myself who has a semblance of self-mastery, who has been able to up until this point maintain that inner peace and hold that light and see things in that middle perspective, walk the middle way. It's difficult. It is difficult because there is such division that feels like it's pulling. It feels like there is a separation. Many years ago, at the start of the pandemic, before I realized it was a pandemic, I was called to channel some unity channelings about holding the light, being the light, holding space. And that's what we've been able to do. But it can be hard. It can be very hard because we're still humans. And we have achieved through our ascension a level of self mastery, but it is still a process. It is still a journey that I myself am on. I'm still human. Let me just put it like that. I'm still human. And so it affects me as well. I'm able to, again, hold the light as my know that my role is. I'm able to maintain that sense of peace. I'm able to maintain that sense of groundedness. I'm able to um, keep my focus on unity consciousness. But it is very chaotic out there. I went for, where did I go? I can't remember. I ran some errands, and man, like, I don't even want to go outside anymore because it is that chaotic. But that's also leadership by example. That is also what we're meant to do. We're not meant to hold ourselves up in our sacred spaces, in our sanctuaries. We're meant to be part of the world. And so that's where we are the bridge, and we're meant to be holding space and holding the light through our energy, and how our energy has a ripple effect. But we can't do that if we are succumbing to that division, if we're succumbing to that chaos, if we're succumbing to all of that harsh negative energy that seems to be drawing us apart. We're meant to be holding that vision for unity consciousness, and it is not easy. That is where your ascension journey has brought you to those levels of self-mastery. Don't judge how you feel, and don't judge where you are, because again, it is a lot right now. It is a lot. There's a lot of energy that is taking place right now. But this liberation card is reminding us that this is what the journey is about, to liberate yourself from either or, to liberate yourself from that dueling perspective, to liberate yourself. And it's not to say that in your human life you don't make choices, but it's having that higher perspective and holding that higher perspective and maintaining that within yourself. Breaking free from negative attachment, breaking free from the maybe the old ways of thinking to become new. What is old is becoming new again. What is old has a chance for rebirth. And that's what Kali Ma always reminds us of. In the cycle of creation, many years ago, she taught me that from destruction comes creation, that you cannot have endings without also having beginnings. You can't have a beginning without also having an ending. And that's what we're seeing collectively. We are seeing that chaos and destruction because there is a rebirth that is breaking through. There is a new beginning. There is a creation that is coming through. And that's coming on the heels of our spiritual awakening, coming on the heels of our spiritual ascension. So everybody's at a different place collectively, but those of us who have been going through the ascension journey for a while are holding that space, maintaining that light, being the light, maintaining that energy within ourselves. And we have our mentors. We have those who are guides for us, and they have those who are guides for them. Like, everybody is at a different place. This is not about superiority. This is not about spiritual ego. This is not about hierarchy. This is about allowing yourself to be where you are without judgment, and to hold compassion for where you were and where others might be, knowing that you were there once too, and to hold that vision for what it is that you're creating, either in your individual life and collectively. And one creates the other. So your individual life will have a ripple effect on the collective reality too. So rather than looking at everything from a narrowed mindset of fear and anxiety, pull back, look at it from a higher perspective of the whole of creation, because everybody is playing a part. So this is our ascension, and the peace dove, it feels like it's no coincidence, both as an ascension message, but also with regards to your sacred union, because with regards to your union, you are bringing in more peace, more harmony to your connection, and that actually has a ripple effect on the whole as well. Because when two twin flames come together, you are creating in that unconditional love, and it has a ripple effect. It has like a cosmic effect. And you can read more about the cosmic effect in my book, The Unity Code. So I want to channel a little bit about or share a little bit about the messages that I received for the masculine specifically. The feminine, you'll be experiencing this and mirroring this too, but the masculine has really been going through their ascension, and I feel like it has been tower moments and maybe dark nights. It doesn't feel like a full crisis of faith as a dark night might be. It feels more like they've been going through that rebirth, and we've been channeling that for many months as well. They've been going through their ascension, they've been going through their rebirth, and they've been coming out the other side of this. Now, when they were in the thick of it, what they were showing me was this hunk of concrete that was like lodged in their energy field. It was a big old block of concrete that felt like it was stuck, and that concrete represented worthlessness, feeling unworthy, shame, guilt, expectation, victimhood, pain. And I felt like this masculine has been, or this collective masculine has been cycling through pain. And it was like they were caught in this consciousness loop of pain, and they didn't know how to get themselves out of it. They were caught in victimhood, didn't know how to get themselves out of it. And so what has happened is they have been chipping away. What they were showing me, and this is where it became hard to articulate because I was getting so many images and so many metaphors. What they were showing me was chipping away at that hunk of concrete. And chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, that was part of their ascension. That was part of their rebirth. And it felt difficult for them. The masculines ascend very quickly. They go through their process very quickly because the feminine is holding space and has already gone through her ascension. The feminine will always go first, the masculine will always follow. Because the masculine is the energy that grounds, and the feminine brings that energetic template and healing down for the masculine to ground into the physical world. So the feminine will go through her ascension first, and her ascension is mostly energetic, energy healings and connection to God's source and modalities and things like that. Very consciously. She'll be very conscious of her ascension, very conscious of her journey. That's not to say the masculine isn't, but they'll experience it very differently. They'll experience it more in the physical world. They'll experience it through experiences and situations, and they'll learn and they'll grow from there. Now, both counterparts have masculine and feminine energies within them, so they'll both experience both. But again, they'll experience their journeys in kind of different ways. It'll look different, it'll feel different. It won't be exactly the same. It's the polarity that's being expressed. So the feminine has been going through her ascension, the masculine grounds that energy and holds space for her, and she will then be in a place where she's able to hold space for him. And as he's going through his ascension, she'll be transmuting and helping to transmute, which is why the masculine ascends very quickly and experiences their rebirth, their ascension very, very quickly, because she's already gone through hers. She is helping the masculine, holding space for the masculine, and transmuting with the masculine. So the masculine is chipping away, or has been chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. And what they showed me is throughout the past few months, especially, they have been doing an amazing job of not only chipping away the victimhood and the lack of worth, or the being beholden to expectation or other people's obligations, or other people's influences, or what other people or society wants them to be. They've been rediscovering themselves. And as they've been chipping away at what I like to call soul sludge, it's soul sludge is that dense energy. It's beliefs and ideas and thoughts and energy that no longer serves you. Well, that formed this hunk of concrete in the masculine that just sat there. And it was like they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to heal. They didn't know how to grow out of it, because they were caught in those consciousness loops, caught in those pain loops, those trauma loops. Well, again, part of their ascension is they've been chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, many of them unconsciously doing so. And what they're actually doing, what they're finding is it's not just chipping away so that that hunk of concrete becomes nothing. That hunk of concrete is forming a sculpture. That hunk of concrete is actually helping them discover who they truly are on a soul level. So I'm trying to put this into words, and I still can't put this into words. So what they were trying to show me is that block of concrete was just blocking them from themselves, from their true self. It's like if their soul, for example, was in the very center of that hunk of concrete, that's what they're chipping away at, to get to their true, authentic soul self, to remember who they are. And what they showed me was a quote from Michelangelo, heard ages ago. I've never forgotten it. Every block of stone has a statue inside of it, and it is the task of the sculptor to discover it. So, this hunk of concrete, this hunk of stone, has been hiding away this sculpture. And what is that sculpture? It is their soul self, it is their true self. And so, as they're doing this healing, as they're chipping away, they are discovering the beauty of who they truly are, and that is their liberation. They're liberating themselves from that concrete, liberating themselves from that stone, that guardedness, that fear, that protection, that victimhood, that unworthiness that they believed about themselves. And this isn't necessarily something that is coming from them. It came from upbringing, it came from traumatic experiences, it came from maybe authority figures who said, this is who you are. Maybe they said you're worthless. Maybe they said you are, you don't amount to anything. Those little criticisms, those little judgments, especially for children, that kind of seep in and that anchor as a belief. Well, now the divine masculine has to understand that they're not those beliefs that other people said. They are who their soul says that they are, but they've had to go through this process to uncover that, to discover that, and to recognize that, hey, there is beauty here. And what they're showing me now is this is the shadow and the light. Shadow work isn't just about freeing yourself from those self judgments. Shadow work isn't just about healing the trauma and the pain and going deep into the darkness. Shadow work is also the light. Things that you love about yourself and recognize about yourself, things that you are proud of. It's also about acknowledging who you are as a soul. And so the divine masculine has been chipping away at this and uncovering this work of art, this statue. statue is not the right word, this work of art, which is who they are, which is their authentic soul self. And it's just a beautiful process of discovery, and it feels like they have truly liberated themselves. And divine feminine, I feel like I'm hearing the words waiting in the wings. You have been holding that space and waiting in the wings because you've always seen that in the divine masculine. You've always seen that love. You've always seen the soul of them. You were just waiting in the wings for them to see that for themselves. We tend to think that, and I had the same belief, that love can really overcome and change everything. And I still believe that, but with nuance. I understand now that there's no amount of loving somebody if they don't love themselves, if they don't see themselves. My counterpart would say the same thing to me. He would say, "Love yourself." And I would say, "It doesn't make sense because I can't love you unless I love myself." But now I know what it is to truly love myself in an unconditional way, and I know what it is to love him in an unconditional way. And that's where I anchored in my own union. That there's nothing outside of myself that I require, especially when it comes to relationships. I can have desires, I can have wants, but there's nothing that I need outside of myself that I don't find within myself. That is your inner union. That is the balance. That is the oneness. And when you anchor that in, everything changes. The way that you love changes. And it's not just the way that you love yourself or the way that you love one specific person, it's the way that you love in the world. That too is your liberation. That too is your ascension. So there's a very freeing energy that's coming through here for both counterparts, and it feels like a very strong message, a very important message for those who resonate with twin flame sacred partners, divine counterparts, and those who resonate with the sacred union path, and those who just resonate with the ascension journey as a whole and that union within yourself. So I'm going to end that here. We're going to pause here. I'm going to leave this as its own channeling because it feels that important. And later this evening or tomorrow, we're going to have the sacred union. I'm going to record and do the sacred union reading now to get a little bit more in depth. But I feel like we're going to I want this to be its own channeling because it feels that powerful and it feels that important. I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody who attended the live stream or the in-person event, the book signing. It was fabulous. It was so much fun, and I appreciate everybody who has ordered the book, read the book. I've been getting a lot of amazing feedback from it, so thank you guys so much. I wrote that as a resource for you, so make sure that you're checking it out if you haven't already. And I did a message on my Instagram. If you are having trouble navigating the journey or you're not quite sure where to go yet, you're never alone. It can feel like a challenging journey, but you have so much support. And we have a lot of support to offer in our Ascension Connections portal. In the membership, I have clarity calls, guidance sessions available, single sessions now. And if you want to book a reading, now is it's the last chance to book a personal reading for the year. So there's a lot of support, and just feel free to email me and I can direct you to resources, including our free timeless readings here. If I think that there's a timeless reading that I'm called to that might have a message for you, feel free to just reach out. Let me know what you're going through. Let me know what's going on, and I'll help you kind of navigate the resources, whether from myself and Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections or from another trusted practitioner. That is what I'm here to do. I am happy to support you. It's my honor to support you in navigating this journey, because I really want you to understand and know that you are never, never alone. Not just with all of us in this community here, but in general. Okay, so let me know if this resonates. Let me know if this is helpful for you and your journey in the comments. And please do make sure that you're staying tuned for the Sacred Union energy update. And we'll also have some other channelings coming forth. I am sending you all so much love and so much light, and we will be back with the reading. Okay, see you next time. Bye.